was in San Antonio, and I think it was from 7 to 10 or something. And I was like, so when will you be home? And I was like,
when I want to.
My first reaction was like, so it'll take me like an hour, and I'm trying to like justify. Then I was like, wait a minute.
I'm an adult.
Homie, what are you talking about? I'll go out again. I'll go out after.
Twice.
I'll go out again. And he was like, but you went out Saturday night. And I was like, and? And what?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Financial Forecast. I'm Lindsay and this is Byron, and today we're going to continue our conversation about growth theory and investments.
Sure.
So I would actually like to ask you what you think the most common question about growth theory and investments is.
I think a lot of it is people figuring out what should they be doing now. A lot of questions are, well, what am I supposed to be doing now? And there's really going to be 3 stages to like your investing journey. The first one is going to be accumulation, and that's going to be the longest one. And so many times people are like, well, what does that
What does that mean?
Yeah, like, what does that
mean?
mean? What do you mean? We're really just trying to build a big pile of money, right? Okay. And so when we talked about investment theory, we talked about the fact that we are buying shares, right? So when we invest in, do traditional investing, we're buying shares of something. We no longer have money. So we ultimately want to have a lot of shares, right? Just think of it. If I have 1,000 of something and that something goes up by $1, I've made $1,000. Well, what if I have 10,000? Like I remember one day I was looking at my little app deal and I got really excited. And probably like, well, why are you so excited? And I showed them, I said, well, this thing went up 10 cents. And they said, why would you be excited about 10 cents? And I said, well, I have 30,000 shares. So it's 30,000 times 10 cents. Oh, well, that's something to be excited about, especially because it happened just like that. And so accumulation is getting a lot of shares in place, a lot of anything in place so that any small changes makes a big change to your life. It's where we'll spend most of our time. I think, and that means, hey, we're constantly adding money to it. We're constantly growing. We're constantly adding to these investments. We're constantly making them get bigger and bigger and bigger so that they will take over for themselves one day. Because if we do it right in those later stages, we don't have to continue to do it. Like there should be a point where you no longer really have to add to your investments. You could if you want to, but it's almost futile. And it's kind of like, if you had a big old orchard and somebody came out and planted one tree. I mean, you're like, well, thanks for the tree, but I don't know if this is really going to change the bottom line. And so we really want to have our stuff get to that point, and you can do that through accumulation. I think one of the downfalls in that is people just get bored. Okay, and lots of times clients have been doing it, their money's tracking good, and we'll say, hey, you're doing well. And they're like, hey, I'm doing well, my money's growing. What else should I be doing? And I'm like, oh, nothing. Well, like what's next? I'm like, absolutely nothing. Well, isn't there some other different type of, nope, you're doing it. Well, what do you mean? Well, your point of it right now is to accumulate. That's all we're doing. Whatever the investment theme that was chosen for you, whatever the investments that are working for you, we're just going to continue to allow those to get bigger and larger and larger and larger. And we're not going to break anything from that. There's no extra thing that we got to do. There's no like, what's next? There's not something next every year. That's how you kind of know if you're doing it right. If somebody says, well, what's next? I'm like, just keep doing what we're doing. It's going to work. Yeah, that's the thing. We want to have enough to where we don't have to think about it. It's a really kind of weird thing, but it's something if you were running a garden or a thing, and I'm just going to keep planting until I run out of seed. I'm not going to go and look at them, or maybe I should turn some sideways or some upside down, or so we get a different plant. No, whatever's working is working. Just allow yourself to do that.
Be patient.
Yeah. be patient, but you can be like a really like actively patient. You can be almost like impatiently patient, right? Like I'm patient because I know I got to keep doing it, but I want to look at it. Hey, look, oh man, check it. Like, oh man, we're doing this. Hey, this is growing. Hey, if I track our net worth, it's much higher now than it was 5 years ago. You know, when I add up all my numbers, hey, look at what happened. You know, it used to be that this thing was making $1,000 and now it's making $3,000. So you really kind of get a chance to start to feel what's going on. I don't think it's good to be like always. Now, you don't need to be in it every day, but to never check on it and just kind of treat it like it's like, I don't know, what do they used to say? The redheaded stepchild or something that you never talk to. I think that's crazy. You do want to kind of look at it sometimes. Oh, look, this is what it's doing. Maybe have a conversation. I think one of the best things, I tell people one of the things that helped our marriage be really great financially is that we'll sit down about once a quarter and just look at where everything is at. It's not a long conversation. Like it normally happens over some dinner that I don't want to buy or something like that. But in 5 to 10 minutes, we can cover what the accounts are, what they're doing, what they look like, have any of our goals changed, things like that. And it kind of allows you to be solid with where you are at as a couple with where your money is.
What would you say in the most recent conversation that you have had is something that has changed or maybe just aligned in a different way?
I think one of the things is because we're really taking this accumulation thing very serious, is I started talking about things we could do other than just save money. Right, because we're going to end up going to the next stage where we'll hit in a second. But hey, look, this is doing this. This is what this money is doing. I've kind of, hey, unless we add this much, which is a crazy amount of money, it's not going to make a big difference with where we end up. So is there anything that you want to do in life right now that we could go do? And that could be maybe a vacation or something that you want to own or an experience. It's going to be something different for everybody. But what is it that you want to do? Let's start working on that. Or let's make plans for that. And so it allows you to kind of get back to a little bit of like dreaming, a little bit of planning, a little bit of kind of like even like I say, pinch myself stuff. Like, oh my God, whoever ever thought that this would be something that would be a part of my life? Or who would ever thought this thing that is really neat would be almost boring to me? Right. Which is really cool. Like, you know, you get something and I never thought I would get it. And then 2 years later, you can't find it. All right.
I don't think you've ever lost your porch.
Yeah, I know, but there's things, right? or even I think to the point where you can start to be like we can be more generous.
Right.
And not just with families, right? Because I think some of us get worn out on that. I don't think we've had that experience, but not just with family, but with other things. Like just, hey, you can see a need, and a lot of needs are going to be monetary, and you can fill those needs. You can help somebody, you can help an organization, you can give to something, you can do something where you're going to have an impact that's outside of yourself or more things because of that. So I think that happens in those conversations. Hey, is there something you wanted to do? Is there something you wanted to give away? Is there somebody that you wanted to help? Is there a thing that you wanted to? So you can do those things through those conversations, but because we took that accumulation stage serious, now you start to see it. Like I said, it gets to the point where it is its own entity. It is providing its own sunlight. It's perpetuating itself. We want to kind of see it grow.
Personally, something that you've changed or that you want to, like a goal that you have, or
a personal goal?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a more simple. I'm not a good example of that. I am like the chef that doesn't have a favorite food, or the mechanic that drives a bad car. As far as when it comes to that stuff, I was always a big worrier. So I think I just wanted to not worry. The bad part is I still worry. Okay. The good part is it's just for a shorter amount of time. So I'll wake up.
What do you worry about?
I don't know. Just overall, like I have never been the type, like if you gave me $20, I couldn't spend the whole 20. Okay. I would have to have something left. I need change. Okay, I needed change. I could never just give away. Hey, this thing costs $100. I saved $100 and I went and bought the thing. I could never. That wouldn't be a thing for me. I would always be worried.
You're not a roundup person.
No, I would always be worried about it. So now I still will have those. I don't think you ever shed those things. It just lasts shorter. Like I may have a worry. What if I don't have enough? What if we run out? What if this thing's expensive? I still have those same thoughts. But then I can kind of take a quick inventory and be like, okay, well, what are you worried about? It's the same thing. Like as an adult, sometimes you start asking yourself, well, can I do this? And then you remind yourself that you're an adult and you can pretty much do what you want as long as it's not against the law. And even some of those things you can do, right? And so you go, oh, like, you know what? I'm an adult. Why am I asking myself if I can have ice cream before dinner? Like I could just have it. Yeah, if I really wanted to have it, I could have it. Or whatever it is in life, or, like we'll be out somewhere and I'm checking the time to see what time it is as if I have a curfew. I do not, right? So I could just go to that thing. So those kind of things happen.
That happened last night.
Oh, really?
I went to a benefit in San Antonio for the Together for Texas, for the Kerrville flood benefit. And it was in San Antonio, and I think it was from 7 to 10 or something. And I was like, so when will you be home? And I was like,
when I want to.
But my first reaction was like, so it'll take me like an hour, and I'm trying to like justify. Then I was like, wait a minute.
I'm an adult.
Homie, what are you talking about? I'll go out again. I'll go out after.
Twice.
I'll go out again. And he was like, but you went out Saturday night. And I was like, and? And what?
Yeah. I was somewhere, or like I had an off day, right? And I was like at Chili's or Applebee's, one of those places like that. And there was somebody sitting, there was these ladies sitting next to me. I think they were nurses, and they were off of work. And one of the nurses kept telling the other nurse, like, not to do something, like not bite her nails or something like that. And then the girl was like, ugh. And I just said, hey, tell her you're not the boss of her. And she goes, you're not the boss of me. And I was like, yeah. We got to remember that we're like, so it's one of those things, right? Like you just got to remember where you're at. Whatever you have is like your money personality. It will probably always be part of your personality. You'll just deal with it a little bit better or a little bit quicker. I don't think that they ever just kind of subside. Right. You just kind of figure it out. Like I grew up really short, so I'm not extremely tall, but I lots of times will think that I'm still super short.
Right.
Yeah, I'll pick clothes up and I'm like, that's probably my length. It is not. So you don't shake those things, right? Or if somebody challenges me, I have a tendency to challenge very quickly, as a short king would do. So I have to watch that because I'm not the same as I was. What I think what's cool though is what was next? Oh, so we talked about accumulation.
Right.
The next thing we get to is preservation.
Okay.
Preservation should be a pretty short period in your investing life. It should not be a real long. You should not spend a lot of time in
Maybe
preservation.
define preservation in this sense.
It's going to be really, if I would look at it and then give it like an exact, it's 3 to 5 years from retirement.
Okay.
So if you've done a good job at accumulation, then 3 to 5 years from retirement, you should have what you need or just about what you need to make retirement work. Right. Okay, because if you're not there, then you need to stay in accumulation. Right. I don't care what anybody says, and I know there's all these models and things, but it's probably more important to get to the goal than it is to get halfway to the goal. Right. Because to me, if a movie costs $10 and I got 5, I'm still not seeing the movie. There's going to be some differing kind of philosophies with that, but I need to get to enough to where I could at least see the movie, and it costs $10. So if your retirement requires that you have $1 million and you got 700,000, well, then you probably still need to spend some more time in accumulation and adjust some of the other areas of your life because you're not ready yet.
Right.
Okay. But if we've done what we need to do and we were either right at, if it was $1 million and I'm at 950, well, I'm probably going to make the $1 million. I would move into preservation. Preservation would mean that we're doing something where we're getting. Adding what?
You're not adding?
Maybe not so much. It doesn't. You could still be adding in preservation. You could still be adding money to it, but you're moving away from your more aggressive investments, or you're moving away from anything that you're starting to provide get some guarantees or some security in your investments. You want to be able to put a little bit, if anything, kind of think of it like you're walking a tightrope and then there's that net underneath. When you were accumulating, there was no net. You're just walking the tightrope because that's impressive. When you get to 3 to 5 years from retirement, we need to put that rope in there. Okay? I mean, that net in there. Because I'm like, well, I can't fall off now. I'm way too high.
Right.
And so you would talk with somebody that works in finance, like myself or whatever, that's going to tell you what those things look like. And it would never be 100% of what you do, but we're going to start to have some security, some preservation, some things that will guarantee that maybe there's some things we don't go beneath.
Right.
Okay. That is not life insurance. I know lots of people in the industry are going to, let's get some life insurance that has that preservation. Those are not the right things. We want to stay something that's still an investment, but it's going to provide that preservation area. Like I said, it's normally 3 to 5 years. If it's any longer than 5 years, you're probably still in accumulation.
Right.
Okay. And it's kind of to help with everybody always tells the Enron story, right? Like, Enron, one day they were millionaires, the next day they came back and they had absolutely nothing. And we felt really bad for a lot of them, which we should have. But some were like, I was going to retire in a month. I was going to retire 2 months from now. As a person, I feel bad for them. As an advisor, well, if I was their advisor and they were 2 months from retirement, would I have had them have 100% of their money in Enron stock? The answer is no. Okay. And a lot of things have happened now with 401ks and things where when you even just, if you're ready and your age is above 59 and a half, you can start moving money out of those 401ks and into other things that will provide some of that security. So a good investment advisor is going to work with you and kind of help you get those things staged out where there's maybe something happening again in all areas. Still got my 401k, got some things that are hedged, got some things that are protected, and I'm in that preservation. So I know that I'm kind of, like I said, I'm ready. I'm prepared. I got the bags packed. I'm going on vacation tomorrow. I haven't got there yet, but the bags are packed. Everything is in the place where it needs to be so I don't forget anything. I don't leave anything behind. And we're saying that same thing with money. 3 to 5 years from retirement, I need to start looking at what are some things I can do to make sure I'm preserving preservation. Again, still maybe adding, but I'm taking a little bit of the heat off. Okay. Then after that is probably the fun part, okay, which call it whatever you want, withdrawal, spending, actual retirement, whatever it is.
Living,
right? But that's where I'm having this money and I'm taking money out of these accounts to live.
and it's no longer, or it's growing still, but it's not at the same capacity, maybe?
Sure, it's growing, but it's growing and we're using some of it.
Right.
So we're going to, of course, slow the growth down because we're drawing out of it, but we still want to have some things that are growth.
Right.
One of the mistakes is people kind of think of it, it is not a cake, okay? So you kind of, you take a cake, you mix all the ingredients, you put it in the oven, it dings, you take the cake out. It no longer is cooking or baking. That is not what an investment looks like. I've had so many people come to me like, well, I'm retiring now, right? So I take all my money out. I'm like, and then do what with it? I'm gonna put it on the bed or drum around like Scrooge McDuck. Like, I don't know what you're gonna do, but that's not what it is. It is much more like a fruit tree. It gets to the point where it can now bear fruit and bear a lot of it. And so we're gonna pluck some of that fruit every year in order to
cut down
live.
the tree.
Yeah, we're not going to cut down the tree, or it's not just done and we turn it into wood. In that withdrawal phase, again, we want to talk with, and of course, I'm probably definitely going to be, what do you call it, geared towards the side of talking with an advisor. And it's not just because, you make money from it or that's your deal. Normally, we're just going to have a little bit better pulse on what's available. Okay. Because most of us, even if we know stuff, we're going to be a novice. Like I remember when I was younger, I used to work on cars, and I remember going into this hobby shop, and I needed to do something, and to do that, I needed to get the steering wheel off of the car. It's a 60s car, so I had to get the steering wheel off, and the hobby shop guy kept coming up to me and going like, "Is that what you're going to do? Is that what you're going to do?" And I didn't understand what he was getting at.
Right.
And then and he was not a good advisor on that, right? But then eventually I went up to the front, and when I was at the front, I saw this box, and the box said on it, steering wheel puller. Huh. So it's a specific tool to pull the steering wheel. It cut my time in half, right? And then I began to go like, well, are there other things like this So I needed to bleed the brakes. And I went up there and I was like, wonder if there's a box. There was a box that said brake bleeding kit. I'm like, check this out. Pretty much everything that I want to do that's common, there's a tool for it. I would not have known that unless I was able to be exposed to that. A mechanic may have known that. Well, in this case, you're going to the mechanic of finances where I can have something I want to have happen with my money, or certain guarantees or security or certain withdrawal rates, or just things that I want to have happen in retirement to where I can have the money and live off of it also. There's probably going to be some tools that we know of right off the bat that'll get you there without any worry, or with the security, or with something going on that we could point to right away, while as a client or consumer, I may have had to sit there for years and do research or do this, but not understand the impact of that. We could just go to somebody who could explain it and kind of get it going in the right deal and be very aware of it.
Right.
Okay. So that's probably the fun part. If you're like a miser, it's going to be a hard part from you. If you're a spendy person, that's going to be the best part. Oh man, I was doing this. But again, we just want to have it big enough to where it can do that. I mean, if you really think of it, okay, I have $1 million. If I take 5% a year, that's 50 grand a year. Well, that's 50 grand a year. You don't have to get up and go to work for.
Right.
It's amazing. Well, and if you're performing at 8 or 10%, well, when you look back at it, it's going to be $1,030,000, right? Or whatever the math is on that. But it's going to be a little bit bigger than what you started with, even though you're drawing money out of it. And so that's, I think, the most exciting part, is when you get to the point where you've accumulated, you've made sure that it's still there. Now you're starting to use it and live off of it, and you can live off of it kind of worry-free. That's the point of sitting down and kind of really learning money, is how do I get to that arc? Right. How do I get it built up big enough and it's there, and then I can live off of it? And I really have eliminated all worry. I know that I have a couple friends and clients to where they can do that. When we look at all their stuff, they no longer have to go work for their money. Their money will work for them, and they can at least live their current lifestyle without having to do anything for that. So maybe they get back to the fun part of what it is, or maybe they get back to hobbies, or maybe they volunteer, or whatever it is that they want to do. Some of them don't know what to do for a little bit, right? But they'll find something to do, because we're so used to chasing and worrying about money that when that escapes, you got to find what really makes you happy. Money, we like to say money, it does make you happy, but it makes you happy because it allows you to do the things that you would want to do. It's not the money itself. Like, there's no joy. A $100 bill and a $1 bill look exactly the same, feel exactly the same in your hand. It's more about, what can I do now that I have this that I could not do before?
There's also, I guess, a side of it that, what's the saying? You don't know what you want when you're young, and when you figure it out when you're old, you're too old to use it. You're too old to do it. Yeah.
We want to kind of, like I said, if you could take that first part serious, you can get it in a time period where it really kind of makes it like, I want to travel when I'm 86. No, I don't really want to travel when I'm 86. I'd like to travel in my 50s and 60s, right? Where I can still get around and do the stuff that I want to do. Not to say that everybody can't, but that's a little bit different travel arrangement than it is to do it now, but not to the sacrifice of that's all I do, therefore I won't be able. I always wanted things to be like I could do them now, and then now that is part of my life. Right. That's an ongoing thing, not I do it now and then I'm sacrificing my future for it.
You're always upgrading and never having to go back.
Yeah, what's my maintenance level? What's a thing where if I do this now, I can do these and I can continue to do it at this level or a little bit above for the rest of my life? And I know that for most of us, that does not include going to a job every day. Right. Even for those that, work for my whole life. Awesome. But who would want to have to work? Right. Like you definitely want to be at a part where even if you are working and you're working your later years, if Bob starts getting on your nerves, you can tell Bob where to get off at. And then you're like, hey, I'm only here 3 days a week anyway. Yeah. Okay. And I leave whenever I want to. That's the kind of thing I want. I would not want to be at a later stage, and then still having to get up and go to work and having to put up with, I mean, think about it. If you're working at 75, you're probably working for like a 25 or a 30-year-old.
Mm-hmm. I always think about the greeters at Walmart, because they're always, more elderly people. And I feel like, not that I don't think that's an important job. I honestly think it adds to morale. It really does create a shopping experience for people. But again, at 75 years old, do I want to have to go to Walmart to say hi to people?
Got to check the schedule, right? Yeah. Mine was, I always tell people I want to walk around in, about 75, I like to walk around in overalls, with just like a bag full of candy bars. Just hand it out to people that look like they're having a bad day. It sounds stupid, right? But
no, it doesn't. There's actually somebody that I follow on social media that he does social experiments. So he comes up to somebody like at the gas station and he's like, "Hey, I'm really down and I don't have anything with me. Can I get like a gallon of gas? Like I've got my car broke down. Can I just get a gallon of gas?" And then watch people be like absolute assholes to him, right? And be like, "Get a job," and blah 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 blah. And he'll be like, "I have a job. Right now I'm stuck and I need help right now." And then like goes to these people, they're all being, and then right in front of him, he'll go to somebody else and they'll be like, "Here," like he's asking for, $3 or something, and they'll give him a 20 and they'll be like, no, it's fine. We're supposed to help each other out. And then he turns around and he's like, "You know what? I actually don't need that. And because you were so generous with your $20, here's $10,000. And every single time they're like, "Oh, no, I did. That's not the purpose of what I did that for."
But what gas station? What gas station is supposed to
It's the value of being a good person, but to watch the other people that just treated him so badly turn around and then they're like, oh, I'll help you now. And he turns around, he's like, no. Less than 5 seconds ago, you were on me and down. This is what you get for being an asshole. And then like walk away.
Lindsi, you like mean stories.
You
like nice
love
mean
that.
stories.
I like nice mean stories. I do. You want to be nice? I love to reward that. You want to be a dick?
Nice mean stories.
You want to go low? Let's go to hell, buddy. I will go there.
Sure. You like a nice mean story. I just
I like stories of again, just doing what I think morally you're supposed to do. Again, and we were talking about this earlier.
I had somebody that said, "Why don't we just sometimes they just say, why you gotta be so rude?" Yeah. That's what I just kind of say. Why do you have to be so rude or be so...
It doesn't cost you anything to be kind. And if you don't got it, there's nothing wrong with saying like, "Bro, I don't got it. I'm really sorry."
Yeah.
But there is absolutely something to like, "Hey, guess what? I have $10 extra and it will change somebody's day." $10 to me, to you, may not mean anything, but to them, literally, can he get to work?
Yeah.
Can he do this? Can he do that?
And it's always a weird thing when you're looking at it, because like I said, money is such a kind of a taboo subject.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of
talk about money, politics, and religion, right?
Yeah. And and the king of all those is money. Because people talk about politics all day long.
Well,
talk about religion
because
all day long.
politics and religion are also only about money.
They talk about
real here.
Yeah, people will talk about sex. Let's talk about it. But money has always kind of been a thing. And then when you do talk about it, you're only supposed to talk about it as far as I have a lot of it and whatever, and never really think anything into the getting there or what the point is. And almost nobody wants to talk about making money slow. They don't want to talk about get it fast. And then we kind of want like the magic pill of it. We almost want if you just do this, if you just take this, you're gonna go to sleep, wake up, it's gonna be there. And I haven't seen any real cases where that happened. I mean, every once in a while somebody gets lucky, but most of those people, when you talk to them, they're like, "I got lucky."
Or personally, I'll say in my situation that it wasn't luck.
Well, no.
It wasn't, in an example, like it wasn't luck. There was a lot that went into that. The end result was a large sum of money, but all that went into that and where I even physically still am, that doesn't change because I got a chunk of money. Yeah,
we're looking at like lots of times people are like, if somebody's like, "Oh, well, this guy did this." More than likely, if you ask them, they'll say, "Oh, I kind of got lucky. Right place, right time." That's no different than, like, in my lifetime, I've won 2 cars in raffles.
I remember that.
I've won 2 vehicles in a raffle. I think that's pretty strange. I'm hoping I can make it 3 before my life ends, right? But that's not because there's anything really special about me. I just happened to get the right card, or they pulled the right deal, and they just happened to be me. But there's nothing I really did to influence that. I still got the benefit of it.
Other than you bought the ticket.
I mean, I bought the ticket, but I didn't do anything other than to influence that. It just happened to be me. And you'll find that financially, sometimes people are going to get that benefit of the luck. You know, they bought into the one company, or they started working here, or they bought this thing on a whim, and they just kind of did things happen. I don't think that's the case for most. And then most is 9.99999% of us. We're going to have to just do the boring work that it takes of, hey, I'm going to accumulate my money. Hey, I'm going to make sure that I got the right timing to where I'm going to, if I want to retire in the next 3 to 5 years, I've pulled my money or got my money in a place where I kind of know it's going to be there. I got some safety, some stops, something in there along with my money that's growing. And then when it gets time to withdraw, do I have a plan on this to withdraw to where this money's going to last forever? Am I talking with somebody? Especially then is the time to talk. You've got $500,000, $1 million, whatever it is, and like, oh, I'm just going to figure it out. I don't think that's a good time to not at least look at some other people and say, well, what is available and out there? So I've seen people struggling to get a return that is already a guaranteed return out of other things. Or they have their money over here and it should be over here. Again, it's a lot about placement. Like, what do you want it to do? And it's not a one fits all. Like, if you're going to buy a car, well, what are you going to do with it? Oh, well, I'm hauling and I got this and I got that. Well, there's a specific, but there's a specific car for hauling. There's a specific car for going fast. There's one specific for fuel efficiency. There's something for everything. Don't think that money doesn't have that same deal. If I'm trying to get my money to do different things, there's probably something different that it needs to be in or be used to make that thing happen. Financial products were never meant to try to beat each other. Right. They were meant to fill a certain specific need. Like, one of the things I always hear is people say, oh, well, why would I use this over this? I heard that some of these things don't even beat the benchmark, right? Oh, this many funds don't beat the S&P 500 or this thing, like kind of what the benchmark. And my response is always, was the thing that you were looking at, was it invented or engineered to beat that benchmark? Right? Like, I can't run a marathon. But the thing you might want to ask me was I trying to? Hey, you can't run a 4:10, 4:40. Oh, was that what I was trying to do? Or was I trying to get stronger? Or was I trying to have a longer life? Or was I trying to get more flexible? There's all kinds of things we could look at in life that would be different goals than that one benchmark. But we're sometimes getting caught into saying, well, it's not beating that benchmark. It wasn't supposed to. It was supposed to serve this need. Like, if you got a dually truck, it's not going to go fast as a Lamborghini. But is that what it was supposed to do? And so we're going to get, again, it's sometimes good to talk to people just to get your thoughts in order. And somebody can say, well, is that what you were trying to do? Well, no. Okay, well, let's get back to what you were trying to do and not just like this thing because it's neat or because our friend has it, but is it what we were pointing at doing? But I think overall, like I said, it's really simple. It's really cool. And I think if we follow it through, we get to kind of get that one part of our life a little bit more under control and a lot more predictable so we can spend time worrying about the other things, the real stuff.
I think the goal to me is not to have to worry about any of it.
Yeah, I think my problem is I know I'm going to worry about something. So it's a little bit. But again, then can we reality check, or can you have some people that you bounce things off of that'll help you get there? And then, like I said, be able to move to those other things that might be more important in your life, relationships and experiences and sometimes just being. Like, it seems really weird, but the older I get, the more I'm like, hey, I could just sit somewhere for 30 minutes.
Yeah, you're a human being, not a human doing.
Oh, I never noticed the sky turns colors, like that kind of stuff. Oh, check it out. There's clouds and stuff everywhere. Yeah, those kind of things that you might have, especially if you're like a blower and goer, you never really saw those things. Like it literally is stop and smell the roses, because you can get to some things where you can do that. And I think you need to do this regardless of where you're at in life, but it's good to sometimes, because you're doing what you're supposed to, you'll catch that little break where you can do that and go like, oh, wow, that's pretty neat, right? Or you can just stop and kind of be a part of something and not be at something wishing you were at something else, or at something waiting for the next thing, but just be where you're at.
I like that.
Okay.
The human being. The human being part of this.
Yeah.
So just to kind of sum it all up, the 3 stages of investments and growth are?
3 stages. We're going to have accumulation. We're trying to get as much money we can into these investments and growing. Then we have preservation as a time frame, normally 3 to 5 years out. We want to make sure we're keeping what we have, still having growth, but we've provided a basis of where we're going to be able to plan from for our actual retirement. And then the last one's going to be our withdrawal phase. Do we have a withdrawal plan that's going to be sustainable, that we will not have to worry about running out of money before we run out of life? And if we can get those 3 things under control, we're going to be okay. And the good thing is, when we're in one phase, we don't have to worry about the next phase. We don't worry about that phase till we get to that phase.
Right.
And when we're in preservation, we're not really worried about withdrawal. When we're withdrawal, we're definitely not worried about accumulation, or vice versa. Accumulation, not where we're withdrawal. We're worried about accumulating. So we get to be kind of task focused.
Task focused.
Yeah.
On just being human.
Sure. Yeah. Being where you're
Just
at.
being human.
Yeah. A good plan's always going to be pretty boring.
Facts.
Yeah. Sus.
I actually thought it might be interesting if you came up with a question that you might want to engage with, or have somebody kind of answer from their perspective.
You're talking about like to an audience to answer? I find one of the hardest questions, but should be the easiest to begin, is what do you want to have come in, if we want to make it like real, like how much money do you need to live off of every month, now and in the future? I think that is an easy question. I think it's one of the ones that people sit there and hum and haw the most.
Okay.
Hey, look, in order to get all this stuff under control, we're going to start with, even though we're going to do different phases, we're going to start with the end in mind. What do you think you need to have every month in order to live the lifestyle that you want, at least as a minimum? Okay, not the crazy one, but the one that you need as a minimum. And they're like, oh man, I don't know. What would it be? And that's a long time question. Lots of times I'll spend 10 minutes just going through, well, what do we need to pay for? What is this? What is that? Where do you think you're going to be at debt-wise, house-wise? And I don't think we've done that enough. Right. And so it does become a simple but very weird question for people, because they're like, well, why would I want to know that? I'm like, well, how else would we plan towards it? You know, again, I'm not going to sit there and beat you up about it, but if I start a workout plan, I need to know why I started this in order to lose 50 pounds. I'm not going to beat myself up every day because I didn't lose that 50 pounds, but I need to know that that's when I get there. Right. Yeah. Also, I wouldn't know like when to celebrate or what to celebrate or when it stops. So I think that's a really good one I would ask is, hey, look, what do you want to have? Like, what does that number look like? It also makes you more serious about the execution of it.
Right.
It's not just, well, I got this money, or I'm just saving this. There's got to be a point to it. Right. If there's no point to it, then I wouldn't do it either.
Right.
Yeah. Just waste it all. So I think that's a real key one. So if I was doing anything, I'd start writing down. I'd write it down. Hey, look, I want to be able to have a lifestyle of at least $6,000 a month. Somebody will work through all the inflation numbers and all the geek stuff behind it. But what is that like? What is it to you? Oh no, I need 8,000. I need 10,000. What is that number that you need to come into you. And then everything can kind of start from there. Because I get asked, well, how much should I save? How much? Okay, well, we're going to start at how much should I save? And I have to say, well, how much do you think you're going to need on a monthly basis? Well, I don't know. I didn't thought of it. Well, then I don't know how much you should save yet. We got to make it work, because I'm going to tell you as much as you can save. And well, why would I do that? Well, it doesn't make any sense absent of what the goal is.
I think another thing that gets kind of confusing is people say, well, I want to be able to $10,000 a month. That's what I want.
Okay.
But you're making 5. How are you going to get to 10 if you're not putting in that extra 5 to work?
And also, I'm like, I think in those cases, I'm gonna sometimes be like, well, that's great. Put that down as your second goal, but let's worry about at least where you're at today, because. Let's be real on some of this stuff. And I know we're so used to things blowing a bunch of, you're probably not going to retire and make more money in retirement than you did going to work. Mm-hmm. I think that's one of those, that's some people, but that's reserved for very, very few. There's going to be a lot of your CEOs and golden parachutes and celebrities and things like that, where they can maybe have so much stored up that when they actually retire and get to do it, they have it. Most of us are going to probably maintain about what we were making.
Right.
Okay. Every once in a while, I'll get a case where somebody makes like, I know I just dealt with somebody last month because of some other things that have happened. We found out that if they were to retire today, they would make like $100 more a month. But again, it's still basically the same money. So again, I think that there's got to be a little bit of, I'm not saying downtrodden, but realistic, but not like, Eeyore realistic, like the guy from Winnie the Pooh. I'm just talking realistic, but hey, if you make $100,000 a year now, then let's start the planning at $100,000 a year for retirement. Let's not start it at $250,000 a year for retirement. That would be probably a more difficult thing to do. Let's start the planning there. You can always do more, but start it there at that minimum.
Do you ever find that you have to not check somebody, but really manage their expectations?
You know what? I think yes, but the opposite way. I think most people don't believe their money can do as much as it can do. They limit it by a lot. And most of the time I'm expanding and telling them, no, it's going to do more than that. There's a lot of limiting beliefs. Well, it's only going to do this much. I get a lot of, if I do, that's not going to make a difference. And what if I save this? Well, and I'm like, hey, look, whatever you save now, 20 years from now, should be that with 3 zeros behind it. But if you save $100 a month now, then 20 years from now, that's $100,000. Yeah, we average about a 12% return, blah, blah, blah. It depends on where you're at and your aggressiveness and all that, but about 3 zeros added after it. And so we got to just make that comparison. What does $100 a month do for me right now? Probably not a lot, but even if it does do a lot for you, can it be reallocated? So I don't want to make $100 seem like it's nothing, because I know it's not nothing. But can it be reallocated? Are there some things that you're doing with the $100 right now which you could not do?
And also, if you do retire, then you are starting to withdraw from that money, so you're automatically not necessarily going to be making less, but it will be less interest, or it will be less money going to that overall compounded.
Yeah. And just kind of like, hey, look, we sometimes think that when we're saving money, we're sacrificing our life.
Right.
And you're not. You're building upon your life that is going towards something. It's, if you had a car payment, you don't go like, I'm making this car payment, but I don't have a car. You have a car. I'm making this house payment, but I don't have a place to live. You've made it to have a place to live. Well, this payment I'm making towards my retirement or my savings is so I can have the result of that. If it's savings, so I don't have to worry about anything taking me out.
Right.
If it's towards retirement, well, I would want to live that long, and I would want to be able to either stop working, work less, or enjoy things better, right? Like I want to be able to really, even if it's dumb, hey, maybe I'll have grandkids. I want to spend time with them, or I don't want to have to go to work, or maybe I get up and I threw my back out and I don't want to go, whatever it is, right? There's something going on. I am actually allocating money towards that. It's not going to nothing. It's not going to some, even like we talked earlier, and you said future self. It's not even future self. I always say it's current self. I'm paying for the fact that I will have an end date to my work. I'm paying for the fact that I will have something that's there. And I'm probably paying for the fact that I'll have a legacy to maybe my kids or their kids won't have to do some of the things that I have to do. Because all of us say the same thing. I wish I would have grown up rich. You know, for us, we used to have that. We used to watch telling my age, right? But we used to watch Silver Spoons. Yeah. Okay. Ricky Schroeder used to ride around. He was rich and his dad owned a toy company. What in the world? His best friend danced like Michael Jackson. This is an amazing lifestyle that this kid lives, right? We all wish we could kind of have that experience. Well, at some point, somebody had to take some money, do something with it, and not just spend it all. The Hiltons that we used to make fun of, the Paris Hiltons, not only did they build that huge thing, but I'm sure along the lines, they saved some money. Like some things were going where they did that to where now we see it and go, oh man, that's a great lifestyle. But what price did their grandparents or their great grandparents pay? I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if you like them or not like them. I'm just saying as far as the operation of what they did, at some point, somebody did the thing. Like
them or not, you got to admire what was done.
I mean, a lot of us, you know, I wanted that cool stuff. I remember being like, I remember not knowing that there was different neighborhoods. Like I thought that I was like, oh, like I remember the first time I saw like a nice neighborhood, I was like, what?
What is this?
I thought everybody lived just like me.
Right.
Right. And then I think it's not till we get older that we start realizing, hey, there's a difference, there's a difference, there's a difference. Well, that comes from sometimes generationally what has happened before. And so if you can be the one to take the step to start that off and get that under your belt, then why not be the one to do that? Even if it's just, again, it's a little bit, but a little bit over time becomes so much. So much. And we take that for granted. We talk about managing expectations. That's the expectation. You think sometimes a little bit means nothing, but a little bit over time means so much.
Yeah, I think it's Albert Einstein that said the most powerful force in the universe is compound interest.
Correct. Yeah, because it just keeps going and going and going. It's the brook that chips out the canyon. It's all those kind of things where we see it over and over again. You know, it's the pea in the mattress, the PEA, not PEE. Okay, and the mattress. There you can feel
the
it's all those.
And the pea.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That one, right? Well, sometimes they say the pea in the mattress, and they're like, no. I'm like, no, not that one, right?
It's actually, I think it was a pea in the saddle. A real cowboy would feel a pea in the saddle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
and
definitely not
somebody
a real
that
cowboy.
Wasn't. It's the same thing as a pea in the mattress.
A horse would probably feel it too, right? Yeah.
Maybe.
But it's kind of one of those
horse
things.
Is doing the work.
Yeah. a little bit equals a lot. And so we just can't take that for granted. So again, there's no reason to not do something where you're kind of getting there. And I'll wait till, or when this happens, I'll be ready. All those things are kind of not good approaches.
Right.
Okay.
Makes sense to me. Anything else you might want to add to that?
No.
No. I think we've not beat the horse to death, but
No.
we've talked about it quite a bit.
Definitely put a pea in its saddle.
We put a pea in the saddle. Well, and I'll go ahead and say thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.